Hey guys, it's Alex from Trummer Digital, and in this video, I wanted to talk about some healthcare digital marketing strategies. So how to grow your practice online. In this video, we're going to be breaking down each kind of path or avenue online that you can take to go and get patients. So where can you put yourself online to generate new patient flow, new patient inquiries, and ultimately grow your practice using the internet. So without further ado, let's get right into it here. So marketing fundamentals. Traffic and conversion is essentially breaking down this whole process from the standpoint of we can only get new patients when people literally see or hear about us online, and that is traffic, right? How many views are we getting? How many impressions are we getting? How much actual traffic is flowing to our social page or to us via search, right? So traffic, how many people are we actually getting to see us? And then how many of those ultimately convert into new patients? So how good is the psychology? How good is the setup and the positioning and the messaging, right? To get, say, 50 out of 100 of those to convert into new patients, or 10 out of 100 of those to convert into new patients, right? So how many eyeballs are we getting and how many of those eyeballs are converting? So you can essentially break all of this down into traffic and conversion. First, we need a lot of views, we need a lot of eyeballs, and then we need to work on our positioning and our psychology and our messaging to get as many of those eyeballs to convert as possible, okay? Traffic and conversion. And then also, guys, funnel dynamics. So if you've heard about marketing funnels online, funnel dynamics are essentially the concept where you have a big amount of things come in at the top. The funnel is widest at the top, and it filters people down ultimately to a defined point. And as a funnel gets narrower towards the base or towards the end, typically things don't fall out of a funnel. But in this case, guys, actually, you can view it as more of a quantity representation. So there's fewer at the bottom than there are at the top, okay? And so as you get closer towards your desired action, people will drop off at each stage in the journey. So if you start off with 100 leads, and maybe you're only able to get in touch with 50 of those leads or inquiries, and then from there, you're able to only book 20 of those, 50 phone calls. And then from those 20 appointments, maybe only a certain percentage show, right? And so ultimately, funnel dynamics is essentially the concept that things will slip through the cracks. It's kind of a numbers game, and we really want to optimize each step of the journey so that we can maximize our results and maximize the funnel. So how are we speaking to leads at the quote top of our funnel when they're a little bit colder to us and they haven't, heard about us that much? Or when people are quote in the middle of the funnel, they've heard about us a little bit, but they're still in the consideration phase. And so our messaging and the way we speak to those folks and educate them about what we do is a little bit different from the top or the bottom of the funnel. And the bottom of the funnel is folks that they know their problem, they're aware of the solutions, they're hot and ready to go, they're ready to buy, they're in market. And so speaking to those types of people is different as well. Oftentimes, those kind of folks will respond more to a direct response type of thing. They might only need some enticing discount or reason to get started, or reason to take action. They're already problem aware, solution aware, hot and ready to go. They know who you are. They know, like, and trust you, etc. Getting into brand a little bit here, guys. Brand is essentially just what do they think of or associate with you as a person, right? If all of your marketing and your branding is, say, very juvenile and light and playful, if you run a pediatric office of some kind, right? That's your branding. It's very, fun and light and playful and warm and friendly and kids focused, right? When someone looks at your branding, they think kids, right? And so you're a pediatric office, that branding makes sense. And so you can kind of attract people that way, and people get a sense for what you do all the better that way. And then the beliefs of your ICP or ideal customer profile, right? What do they currently believe about your product or service or their problem? Maybe people have a misunderstanding or a, misconception about how things work in your business or in your practice, right? And so the way you market and make content or write posts and things like this, you might need to overcome some of these quote limiting beliefs or misconceptions, right? You might need to instill certain beliefs like medical care is good for you, for your health for the long term, right? If people for some reason don't get that or weren't thinking that, you always want to be, I guess, indoctrinating your ideal customer profile into your way of thinking that your service is good for them, because it is good, right? You're helping them get what they need, which is your service or healthcare, right? So breaking limiting beliefs and instilling good beliefs that ultimately bring them closer to you and to getting their ideal result, right? And that brings us into our fifth point, their ideal result or their goal. What are their goals? Their goals are likely to reach more ideal health and to get better and to heal their ailment of some kind, right? So speaking to those pain points, where they are and where they want to be, and you're that bridge, that intermediate there, that's going to get them from their, current pain point state to their ideal goal and solution, right? So what are their goals? Do they want to be healthy? Do they want to be fit? Do they want to not feel pain? Do they want to be able to walk around and, see their kids, right? That type of thing. Speak to their goals, speak to their ideal outcomes. And then we have inbound and outbound, guys. So inbound, things that come to us inbound in life are typically stickier and they actually buy easier, right? As opposed to if we go and chase things in an outbound fashion, just from a psychological perspective, it's oftentimes harder to pin down because the intent wasn't there on their side. Maybe they're not in market at all. Maybe it's, think about, spam or mass flyers and things like that. It's like, I wasn't looking for this, right? But outbound marketing is a thing, there's something to be said for folks that go out and just really just make themselves known. And maybe some of those people happen to be in market and you're able to get a few conversions that way. There is a place for outbound marketing, but a lot of times inbound marketing is the strongest when you put your stake in the sand and say what you're about, and you attract people that resonate with that. And those people that come to you, they're displaying just by the act of coming to you an intent, a buying intent to learn more about you and eventually maybe work with you. So inbound is always stronger. We do want to optimize towards that typically. Point number 7 is nurturing. So when you talk about the quality of leads or the warmth of leads or how ready they are to buy, oftentimes this can be done through nurturing, right? So you're nurturing a relationship. You're nurturing them knowing, liking, and trusting you. So you're posting content consistently, say, on social media, and they've heard you speak now. They like your personality now. They're learning more about your service now, and they're learning about their problem even more and how your service can help that. Oh, I didn't realize that these wrinkles above my eyebrow can actually be solved with this treatment that I didn't even know existed. And now I saw the procedure being done and the doctor talking about the procedure, and that seems pretty cool. And I like the doctor. So now it's starting to become more nurtured in their head. And you know what? One day everything's going to align. They're going to click the call button. They're going to be like, you know what? I've been watching your content. I've been thinking about this and I'm ready to go. Let's do this. And then they come into your office, as opposed to maybe something where there isn't a lot of nurturing, some type of thing where they have never heard of you. And when they submit a lead form or something, they don't know who this office is. They don't know anything about the treatments. They haven't been educated, etc. And so you're going to have to do more work on the back end to nurture that person, right? And so that's why sometimes the leads aren't hot and ready to go if they've never heard of you. So nurturing is very important to increase the lead quality that people say. So let's keep it moving here, guys. So first off, the methods of online. First, let's get into search and SEO. So that's probably the first thing you're thinking of. Google search, guys. Also, I don't know if you knew this, but there is a website called Bing as well. It owns a small chunk of the market share as well, but 99% of the time, guys, we're talking about Google. Anyways, we also have Google Maps, Apple Maps, and Yelp, things like that, and directories. So, if you show up on, say, Health Grades or Yellow Pages, so various directories, but these directories appear when you search on Google as well. So it's really just Google search, guys. But you really want to optimize your listings so that you appear closer to rank number 1, because rank number 1 and rank number 2 get more clicks than, the second page of Google. You're essentially not going to get any traffic that way if you're so far down the page or on the next page and things like that. The more close you are to rank number 1, the more clicks and traffic and patients you'll get. So we always want to be optimizing our listings so that we appear more and we appear closer to the top. So, I don't know about you, but if you say move to a new city and you need to find a doctor and you haven't gotten a recommendation from a friend or something like that, you'll probably just go on Google and search, doctor near me or whatever the case is, right? And you'll pick one that maybe has good reviews and is close to you, right? And similarly, that's what we're going to talk about with SEO. You want to optimize for reviews and social proof and making sure your Google My Business is listed up to date and all that good stuff. So let's get into some SEO techniques now. So first of all, Google optimizes for the user experience. So it only shows users listings that it believes the user will have a good experience with. So if you want to show up for Doctor Near Me, you want to make that Dr. Near Me search match to your listing as closely as possible so that the user has the best experience of finding what they're looking for, right? So for example, if your URL domain name for your website is actually drnearme.com or something, you'll probably have a really good chance of showing up near the top. Or if your website title name is Dr. Near Me or, Dr. Smith, Dr. Near Baltimore, Maryland, or whatever the case is, right? You'll probably have a better chance of ranking if your keywords are actually in the title, the domain, maybe it's the content of the page, etc. And also, guys, activity and reviews. So activity on your page, like how much stuff is already going on your page. Is it like people are engaging with it, people are viewing it, people are sharing it, people are leaving good reviews? So if Google is seeing that, hey, people are responding well to this page, people actually go to this practice and they really like it, this has a lot of reviews, a lot of good reviews, I'm going to show this one because the consensus is that this is a good practice. If Google sees that 653 people have rated this 5 stars, right? And keeping on going here, guys, kind of your domain authority and your reputation. So if your website's been around for a few years, if you have some people maybe even linking to you, like the newspaper talked about you one time and linked to your page and stuff like that, backlinks and domain age, how long you've been around, how many like bad issues you've had with your page, if you've had very few issues or anything like that, you ultimately have a good domain score or authority or reputation. And that'll just factor into, how willing Google is to list you up there because it knows that users will have a good experience there because you're trusted, you're reputable, you haven't had any problems. People link to you, you're actually a real page. And then also content. So on-page stuff, like the words that are on your page, it matches, people are reading through it. There's a high engagement rate. There's a long on-page time. You have a decent word count. It's not your pages are just bland with like one word on there. It has a good amount of words. There's a good page load, good on-page experience. It loads quick. It's a good page. User experience is going to be optimized. There is maybe a good click-through rate. So people see the title and this is really engaging for them. So they just happen to click a lot. Ultimately, tying back to the theme that Google optimizes for user experience. And then also technical SEO stuff. There's things like the schema, which is pretty much different ways you can categorize and use metadata and things like that to tell Google what your page is about, whether or not your site is indexed. So if it's not indexed, it won't even be able to list on Google. Stuff like the site architecture. So what kind of umbrella do you have? How many clicks does someone have to take to actually get to where they want to go on your page? How are your pages linked together in links or backlinks? Backlinks are other websites linking to your website. So if you have a lot of backlinks, people linking to your website's kind of like a hub, right? I think backlinks were more important maybe back in the day, and they probably still are, a fairly good way to get good SEO, but I'm not a super big proponent of backlinks. I would just recommend making sure all your keywords are good, your Google My Business is optimized, and you're getting a lot of reviews and actual real social proof and real human activity on your page is definitely going to be big. And then guys, another organic or free method is organic social media, of course, what you were probably thinking of if not for search. So we got Facebook, right? Facebook page for your practice, posting on it, sharing, things that are going on with your practice, sharing patients, sharing results, sharing stuff like that. And obviously, guys, with HIPAA, sharing stuff about medical stuff online is a little bit touchy. I would definitely say that there's probably HIPAA forms that you should probably make patients sign if you do decide to post something that maybe displays some type of patient information or just even a picture, right, with a satisfied patient or something like that. But other than that, guys, once that's all taken care of, then I think the more you can show of like real humans enjoying their experience here and real reviews and real results, that stuff is really great because the whole privacy thing does kind of dampen your ability to market in medical. So getting past that is definitely going to be helpful if you are able to get HIPAA consent and whatnot. So also in addition to Facebook, guys, we got Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. I would say out of these, Instagram might be your best bet just because it's kind of a very commonly used platform for, I would say, millennials and my generation. So I would say like mid-20s to like mid-30s. And then once you get older than that, I would say that older demographic is actually more on Facebook. So if you typically tend to work with older folks, then maybe Facebook and just try to get a lot of them to follow and friend your page and your account and just start posting a lot, right? Start educating your audience, start engaging with your audience, commenting. And then as we can see here, guys, post content, nurture your audience so they're learning about what you do, they're learning about your office, and they're just getting to know, like, and trust you. Know, like, and trust is a huge concept as well. I should have put it on that initial marketing fundamentals thing, but know, like, and trust is essentially nurturing, right? And then ultimately call to action. So every now and then I would go ahead and directly solicit an action from your audience. Like, hey, we're doing this special, call us now to schedule your new patient appointment, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, just directing people to whatever desired action you want. For a lot of medical practices, that's probably just calling the office to schedule an appointment. And you do need to make call to actions, because what you can do, guys, is you can do all of this content and whatnot, but if you're not actually directly telling people to take an action and to call you, hey, I'm here ready for business, then you actually will get much less results than you actually could. You have to be okay with soliciting and selling and getting people to take action and become a new patient, okay? That's one thing that I had to overcome. And once you do embrace, like, hey, I'm here to promote my business and to get business, then you'll actually get some results there. So also, guys, groups and forums. You can join Facebook groups, Reddit forums, Reddit threads, other forums, and just essentially post content and engage in the group. And over time, you'll nurture some relationships. People start to see you being active in there, and then eventually maybe those relationships can convert. And now, guys, onto the paid methods here. So paid social. Essentially, you're paying Facebook or Instagram to blast an ad or a post in your location. So you can drop a location pin or location radius around your office, around your town, and the ad algorithm will actually show that ad to people that it thinks have a higher likelihood of actually being interested in what you're offering. And oftentimes, guys, this is a direct response style of marketing where you're going right for someone who probably doesn't know much about you, and you're maybe trying to use some copywriting techniques and things like that to really entice them, to get them over the edge, to submit a form, a lead form, or call your office, right? And a lot of times these folks are more towards the bottom of the funnel already. They already have a problem. They're already in pain. They've been looking around already. And so this is actually very effective for those reasons. And some different ways you can kind of architect this funnel or set up these ads and these funnels. You can have an in-app lead form. And then after that lead form, you can have the potential new patient call the office directly. So you're getting a mix of contact form leads and inbound calls. Or you can send those people to a landing page where you talk about your office, and maybe they fill out a form or they call the office directly from there. You can also send them to what's called a VSL, or virtual sales letter, where it's a video of you kind of talking about your office and your offer. And in that way, you're kind of slightly nurturing them, right? And then maybe you make them submit a lead form and maybe go ahead and directly schedule from there, or a lead form to call. And so there's different objectives you can go for, whether that's a direct call or scheduling or a lead form. Typically, guys, we go with an in-app lead form to call the office, by the way. Next up is paid search, guys. This is essentially just Google Ads. You're essentially competing for clicks at the top of Google search. And the reason I say compete is because oftentimes you'll hear the word auction being thrown around in Google Ads. And if you can imagine someone searching dentist near me, there will be multiple people vying for that number one spot. You're literally vying for spot 1 and spot 2 and spot 3 with other Google Ads advertisers. And so that top spot will essentially auction or go to the person that is willing to pay or bid the highest for that click. And so ultimately, guys, paying to be at the top, you may pay more and more of a premium if the market is more and more competitive. Right. And so that's why Google Ads can be expensive, is because you're auctioning with other people in a kind of competitive way, and you're bidding up that price of being number one lawyer in New York City, for example. You can imagine how it's just astronomical. So in Google Ads, you're paying per click, you're paying to, be shown number 1, number 2, etc. But you only really, like I said, pay when someone clicks on your listing. And so if you are just doing demo stuff, if you're going around not really actually interested in the service, and you click on someone's sponsored listing on Google, you literally just charge them like probably anywhere from $10 to $40. So that's kind of interesting. But guys, on Google Ads, you can do call extensions where on your Google Ad listing, there will be a little button on the bottom might just say call now or something. Sometimes you can click to call directly, especially if you're on your phone. Otherwise, guys, in Google Ads, it's prudent typically to make a landing page, which is essentially just a conversion optimized website, like a one pager pretty much. Because if you have a Google Ads listing and it literally just links directly to your website, to your homepage, the issue with that is that people can get lost kind of clicking around on the menu buttons, going here, and essentially they're not directed towards your ideal action. A landing page is designed so that people can't really click around and get distracted. They're funneled to the action that you want them to take, which is to submit a lead form or to call your business, right? So landing pages are conversion rate optimized. There's not a lot of ways that they can get distracted and click onto other things. It's typically a one pager which talks about your office in the best light possible, shows great reviews, great social proof, and there's big bold buttons where they can submit a lead form or call your practice. And then other than that, guys, typically with Google Ads, you're doing keyword research. You're figuring out which keywords get the most searches, the most search volumes. You're also seeing which keywords might have, say, an opportunity to bid on them because maybe they get a decent search volume, but the estimated bid that Google will show you in Google Keyword Planner isn't that expensive. And so maybe that quote unquote long tail keyword where it's a longer search phrase maybe gets slightly less search volume, but it's highly specific and pretty cheap. Those ones might be a good idea to go after. There's also different things with Google search like match types. So broad match means if someone searches dentist near me, you might show up if someone says Waterloo dentist in my area or something like that. You'll still show up because it's broadly related to that dentist near me keyword that you put in your Google Ads. However, if you say put phrase match, which is just quotation marks around your keyword, so dentist near me, that means you'll only show up if someone searches dentist near me, Hanover, Maryland, or something like that, right? That phrase must be included somewhere in the search, but there can be words before or after that phrase. For exact match, which are typically denoted by brackets, someone has to be searching that exact phrase. Sometimes you'll show up if there's just a slight misspelling or maybe an S added to the end of the word or something, but someone has to be searching that exact phrase for your listing to enter the auction. And now, guys, another paid method is affiliates or affiliate marketing. So you're having other people promote your practice. So what this could mean in a digital context is if you're paying, say, social media local influencers who have a lot of followers or who have a lot of influence in your area talk about your practice. So maybe you pay them a fixed rate just to post something, or maybe you pay them based on performance or results of how many views they get or how many conversions they actually get, right? So kind of maybe on a commission or performance basis. Or you can have like contests or local giveaways where customers or patients repost your thing or they make a post about you. And so now you have this army of patients or people kind of posting all about you if you do this cool contest or cool giveaway. And so that's another way to kind of set up an affiliate offer. And there is, as you can imagine, a lot of leverage with this method if you execute it well, because you have multiple people, or in this case, like an army of people kind of talking about you. So it's very leveraged in the sense that other people are doing a lot of legwork for you. And there's a lot of social proof when real people are talking about your thing. And now, guys, some conclusion concepts about maybe which paths are better and things like that. Just a couple points here. Nurturing is essential to create warm buyers. So that's why organic content is really powerful, is because if people consume this video, that video, this piece of content, that piece of content, they're getting to know, like, and trust you. And so now they're that much closer to actually buying. Ultimately, the digital realm is a representation of the physical realm of person to person, right? Real life human interaction. And we typically like to be friends with or do business with people that we know, like, and trust. And similarly, that's how it is online as well. If you're forming a relationship with someone online, you're more likely to reach out to that business and work with them, right? Or you literally just, that's the only practice in town that you've heard of because you were on social media and you saw friends posting about it or this or that. And you saw that it's a great office, you saw the doctor and you needed braces. And so now you're going to go there, right? As opposed to like searching around for something where you don't know what you're getting yourself into. It's like, I know that this is the reputable place that all my friends go to and I saw them post and I see what the inside of the office looks like and it looks great, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So another concept, guys, is that inbound is essential to confirm buying intent. So that's why search or Google is very powerful, because when I move to a new city and I need to go to a practice, I'm going to search up doctor near me or whatever the case is, right? In that moment, I have intent to actually find and start working with a new practice. And that's why search is powerful, because I'm going inbound to somebody. I'm not just going about my day walking my dog and I have a doctor coming up to me and saying, hey, do you need medical care right now? It's like, nah, I don't even feel the need to get a checkup, right now. You know what I mean, right? So that's why inbound search is very powerful. And that's why, organic SEO is great and paid Google is great. And then affiliate strategies can also produce very high leveraged reach. So like we said, if you're able to work with other people to promote your thing, there's also something to be said for the fact that if someone else is vouching for you, there's some psychological power in that as opposed to you just promoting yourself. So that's another thing to consider. But affiliate could be something to consider because some people forget that this kind of method even exists. And then guys, so free versus paid. Free is great because you're keeping your margin. You're not paying anything out of pocket, but paid is great for guaranteed sales and opportunities fast. So if I pay Facebook $1,000 a month to show my post, I will get, thousands and thousands of impressions and pretty much guaranteed leads. Like I know I will get leads for say $15 a piece. I will get 60 leads this month. I know that statistically, month after month, I get within this range of actual people submitting form inquiries to potentially become a new patient for me, right? So paid is a great way. If you need leads yesterday, this month guaranteed, without say posting content and it getting 4 views or, doing all this work to try to convince people to promote my thing. If I just go into my ads manager and run some ads, I'm going to get views and inquiries guaranteed pretty much. So that's why paid is great as well. And so guys, some results here. At Tremor Digital, obviously we are a marketing media buying agency. So we run your ads on Facebook, Instagram, and Google to get you new patient leads and inquiries every single month. And actually, in this case, we got an insane result, absolutely ridiculous. $344 spent, 100 leads at $3.44 a lead. Now, guys, obviously, I can't get or guarantee this result every single time because this is absolutely a great outlier case where we're getting really good quality leads for extremely cheap and efficient, whereas in some cases, if an agency doesn't know what they're doing and they're getting you $30 leads and they're not even really high quality leads, then in that case, you got 10 leads. You know what I mean? I got 100 for the same price. So yeah, definitely feel free if you wanted to work with us at Tremor Digital to run your ads to get you new patients, click the link in the description. Or if you're an agency owner looking to do what you do better and learn from me and my coaching and mentorship program, feel free to click that link in the description as well. I'd be happy to help. But yeah, guys, I think that's about it. I hope this presentation was informative and helpful. And with that being said, guys, feel free to check out some of the other videos on the channel. We talk all about local business marketing and how we can help grow your business with digital marketing. So with that being said, guys, take care.